Decoding cyber threats with the MITRE ATT&CK Framework. Welcome to the Explainer. Let's just dive right in, shall we? When an organization gets breached, adversaries, they typically don't just hit and run. No, they lurk. They'll sit undetected on a network for months, just quietly observing, gathering data, plotting that ultimate strike. And when the alarm finally does go off, security teams are just left staring at their screens, totally scrambling for answers.
And the very first thing everyone is screaming is, how did they get in? Right? Did someone click a bad link? Was there some hidden vulnerability in the firewall? Did an insider literally just leave a digital door wide open? It's this frantic, adrenaline-fueled scramble to find that initial point of compromise, and the clock is absolutely ticking.
But unfortunately, it doesn't stop there, because the next immediate and honestly arguably more terrifying question is, how are they moving around? We're talking about an invisible threat actively navigating your network laterally. They're jumping from some random employee's laptop straight over to a highly restricted central server, escalating their privileges, and basically taking over the entire digital nervous system of the organization, all while remaining totally unseen.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. What are they actually doing? Are they siphoning off gigabytes of sensitive customer data? Are they quietly planting the seeds to lock down the entire system with ransomware? I mean, when you're flying completely blind in your own house, where do you even start tracking a hidden adversary? Well, here's the good news. You start with a decoder ring. Enter the MITRE ATT&CK Framework. This is a comprehensive framework that outlines exactly how adversaries penetrate networks, how they move laterally, escalate privileges, and evade your defenses. Basically, it's the definitive guide to understanding the enemy's playbook. Section 1. Shifting to the attacker's perspective. To really get what this framework is all about, we have to kind of flip the traditional cybersecurity script. See, for decades, security was all about building higher walls, right? Digging deeper moats. But the core philosophy of MITRE ATT&CK is that it looks at the problem exclusively from the perspective of the adversary. And that is a huge aha moment for so many organizations. It's not just about knowing where your own walls are weak, it's about deeply understanding the specific goals an attacker wants to achieve once they're inside and the exact step-by-step methods they use to get there. It's literally teaching you to think like a hacker. Section 2. Tactics versus techniques. So, how does the framework actually organize all this intelligence? It all boils down to two foundational pillars. We have tactics and we have techniques. And understanding the difference here is absolutely crucial. A tactic is the what. It's the specific technical objective that an attacker wants to achieve, their overarching goal for that phase of the attack. A technique, on the flip side, is the how. It describes one specific, actionable way an adversary might try to actually pull off that objective. So anchor this in your mind. The tactic is the goal, the technique is the execution.
Let's make this real with some actual examples of tactics straight from the framework. Remember, these are the goals. First up, defensive evasion. The attacker's goal here is simply to dodge your antivirus or security teams. Second, lateral movement. Their goal is to hop from the initial machine they compromised over to other systems. And third, exfiltration. The objective here is to steal your data and smuggle it out of your network. These are the tangible objectives driving everything the hacker does.
But here's where it gets super dynamic. Within each of those tactic categories, the framework defines a whole menu of techniques. For instance, and this is a real-world example, if a notorious threat group like APT29 wants to achieve the tactic of initial access, they might use the specific technique of spear phishing with a malicious attachment. But adversaries are adaptable. They use multiple techniques per tactic depending on their expertise, the tools they have on hand, or even how your specific systems are configured. Literally, if one door is locked, they're going to try a window.
And this is where we see just how incredibly granular MITRE ATT&CK gets. For every single technique, there is a detailed profile. You get a method description detailing exactly how the attack goes down. It lists the applicable platforms, like does this target Windows, Linux? It tells you exactly which known real-world adversary groups use this specific method. And crucially, it gives you mitigations. These are actionable ways to stop or detect this exact behavior, complete with published references. It is just an absolute goldmine of data.
Section 3. Mapping the real-world threats. Let's look at how this structured intelligence actually applies to the tech you use every day. Because hackers use different tricks for different systems, the framework is smartly divided into technology domains. So it covers your traditional enterprise networks running Windows and Linux, sure, but it also extends all the way to mobile devices. Because let's face it, attacking a smartphone looks very different than attacking a massive server rack. And MITRE ATT&CK categorizes the whole shebang.
Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? How do you actually use this thing? Well, here's your game plan. First, use it to understand adversary operations. Really get to know how they prep and launch attacks. Second, use the resources to develop analytics that can spot these specific techniques on your network. Third, honestly evaluate your current defenses against this real-world knowledge. And fourth, strengthen your network where it matters most. Because this is all based on real-world observations, you can literally correlate specific adversaries to the exact techniques they use and build a highly targeted custom defense.
Section 4, a community-driven defense. Now, you might be wondering, who actually keeps all this updated since threat actors evolve constantly? Well, a really important fact to understand is that MIT is a not-for-profit organization operating in the public interest. And why does that matter? It matters because they aren't trying to sell you some proprietary software tool. By being not-for-profit, MIT acts as a totally neutral, conflict-free environment. They exist purely to create, collect, share, and manage this critical cyber threat intelligence for the greater good.
And because they have that trusted position, they've built an unbelievable community ecosystem. Experts from all over the globe across all sorts of technology domains come together here. They're constantly refining existing knowledge. When hackers invent a new attack method, this community immediately works to extend the framework with those new techniques. They collect it, share it, and make it freely available to everyone. It is basically a massive, living library of shared defensive knowledge.
And that really brings us to their powerful mission statement, MITRE. We solve problems for a safer world. The ATT framework is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful tools we have to make our digital world safer. It takes the terrifying, chaotic unknown of a cyber breach and turns it into a structured, understandable, and most importantly, defendable problem. So I want to leave you with this. In your own organization, are you still just trying to build higher walls, or are you finally looking at your network from the perspective of the adversary? Think about it.